Look at your hand. Right now. Why is your phone there? Did you pick it up because you had a deliberate purpose? Or did your hand move before your brain even registered the desire? We like to believe we are the captains of our souls, that every click, every purchase, and every passing thought is a manifestation of our free will. But what if I told you that your free will is just a set of pre-installed options in a menu you didn't design? Welcome to the architecture of control. We are about to deconstruct the invisible scaffolding of your daily life. We are going to explore how casinos, social media giants, and even the layout of your local grocery store are precision engineered to bypass your consciousness and speak directly to your ancient lizard brain. By the time this video ends, you won't just see the world differently, you'll see the strings. In 1952, an Austrian architect named Victor Gruen arrived in America with a vision. He wanted to create the perfect third place, a communal space for people to gather outside of home and work. He invented the modern shopping mall, but Gruen accidentally discovered something terrifying. He found that when you enter a space that is intentionally confusing, where the ceilings are high, the lights are blindingly bright, and the exits are strategically hidden, your brain undergoes a profound transformation. It's called the Gruen Effect. The moment you lose your sense of direction, your logical mind, the one that came in to buy just one pair of socks, effectively shuts down. You enter a state of suggestive disorientation. You stop being a person with a plan and start being a consumer in a trance. Victor Gruen eventually grew to hate what he had created, calling malls soulless bastions of greed. But the architects of control took his blueprints and ran with them, because they realized a confused brain is a profitable brain. But the control didn't stop at the mall doors. It moved into our pockets. To understand how, we have to look at the work of B.F. Skinner. In the 1950s, Skinner put pigeons in a box. If they pressed a lever and got food every single time, they eventually got bored. But if they got food randomly, unpredictably, they became obsessed. They would peck the lever until they died of exhaustion. This is known as a variable reward schedule, and it is the most dangerous weapon of the 21st century. Every like, every notification, and every match is a digital pellet of food. The engineers in Silicon Valley didn't study computer science to make the world better. They hired Las Vegas slot machine designers to make the world sticky. They hacked your biological hard drive. You aren't checking your phone for information. You are the pigeon in the box, pecking at the glass, hoping for a hit of dopamine. The shift was subtle. We moved from physical architecture to digital panopticons. In the old world, if someone wanted to follow you, they had to stand behind you in a trench coat. Today, they live inside your nervous system. They don't just see where you go, they see how long your eyes linger on a specific shade of blue. They see the millisecond of hesitation before you click buy. Your smartphone is not a tool. A hammer is a tool. It sits on the shelf until you need it. Your phone is a sensor that is constantly feeding a beast that never sleeps. This is the era of surveillance capitalism. In this system, you are not the customer. You aren't even the product. You are the raw material. Your experiences, your secrets, and your deepest fears are mined like lithium, refined into data points, and sold to the highest bidder to predict and then control your future behavior. Think about the last time you felt a sudden urge to buy something, a specific pair of shoes, a new supplement, a gadget you didn't know existed 10 minutes ago. You tell yourself it was your idea. But 3 days ago, an algorithm noticed that your scrolling speed slowed down while looking at a related post. It cross-referenced your GPS data with a friend who recently bought those shoes. It analyzed your facial micro-expressions through the front-facing camera to detect a hint of envy. It waited for the exact moment when your willpower was lowest, perhaps a Tuesday night when your brain was tired, and it placed that ad in your path. You didn't choose to buy. You were nudged until you broke. This is what engineers call psychographics. It's the mapping of your personality, your vulnerabilities, and your triggers. It's no longer about selling soap. It's about selling reality. We are no longer living in a shared world. We are living in billions of individual echo chambers designed to keep us in a state of perpetual emotional arousal. Why? Because an angry user stays on the platform longer. A scared user is easier to manipulate. In 2014, Facebook conducted a massive psychological experiment on over 600,000 unsuspecting users. They intentionally altered news feeds to show more positive or more negative posts. They found they could contribute to a mass-scale contagion of emotions. They proved they could control your mood without you ever knowing they were in the room. We are witnessing the death of the individual. We are being merged into a giant, algorithmic swarm. But how deep does this go? Does the control end at the screen, or has it already rewired the way we think, speak, and love? To understand that, we have to look at the social engineering of our very identity. This is part 2 of the script, covering the middle 10 minutes, minutes 10 to 20. It moves from the external architecture into the internal psyche, how we have become our own prison guards. We have discussed the boxes they put us in, but we haven't discussed the box we build for ourselves. This is the stage where control becomes invisible because it is no longer something being done to us. It is something we do by ourselves. Think about the last time you saw a beautiful sunset, or a plate of exquisite food, or a moment of genuine laughter with a friend. What was your first instinct? Was it to feel the warmth of the sun or the taste of the salt? Or was it to reach for your pocket, frame the moment through a lens, and wonder how it would look to them? We are living in the era of the permanent performance. In the mid-18th century, philosopher Jeremy Bentham designed a prison called the Panopticon. It was a circular building with a central watchtower. The prisoners couldn't see into the tower, so they never knew if they were actually being watched at any given second. Because they might be watched, they began to act as if they were being watched at all times. They became their own guards. Social media is a digital panopticon. But there's a twist. We weren't forced into this prison. We fought for the front row seats. We have externalized our self-worth to a numerical tally of hearts and views. And in doing so, we have murdered the authentic self. When you know you are being watched, you are no longer living. You are performing. You filter your words, you curate your aesthetic, and you edit your personality to fit the algorithm's demands. You are no longer a human being. You are a brand manager for a person that doesn't exist. This creates a terrifying psychological paradox. The more self-aware we become through these digital mirrors, the less we actually know who we are. We are so busy watching ourselves being watched that we have lost the ability to simply be. We are like actors who have forgotten that the play was supposed to end at the curtain call. We stay in character even when we are alone in the dark. But why does this matter for control? Because a person who is constantly performing is a person who is constantly insecure. And an insecure person is the easiest person in the world to sell to. If you are satisfied, you are a dead end for the economy. You don't need the new car, the better skin cream, or the life-hacking seminar. Control requires you to feel like a project that is never finished. They use therapy speak to weaponize your self-improvement. Have you noticed how every natural human emotion has been rebranded into a clinical pathology? You aren't sad. You have depressive symptoms. You aren't nervous. You have generalized anxiety. You aren't distracted. You have a disorder. By giving a label to every flicker of your soul, they have commodified your healing. They sell you a subscription to an app to help you breathe. They sell you a pill to help you focus on a job you hate. They have turned your very search for meaning into a profit center. They have engineered a world that makes you sick, and then they charge you for the cure. This brings us to the most subtle form of control, the manipulation of language. In George Orwell's 1984, the state used Newspeak to limit the range of thought. The idea was simple. If you don't have a word for freedom, you can't have the concept of freedom. In 2026, we don't have a government burning books. We have a culture that is narrowing the meaning of words through optimization. We speak in hashtags. We communicate in emojis. We let predictive text finish our sentences. Our language is becoming as thin as the screens we read it on. When our language becomes shallow, our thoughts follow. We lose the ability to hold complex, contradictory ideas. Everything becomes binary. Left or right, pro or anti, yes or no. The algorithm hates nuance because nuance is hard to monetize. Nuance takes time, and time is the one thing the architecture of control cannot allow you to have. They need your reaction to be instant. They need your outrage to be immediate. Because as long as you are reacting, you are not reflecting. And if you are not reflecting, you are not in control. We have arrived at the final frontier of control. For decades, the architecture was external: malls, casinos, and screens. Then it moved into our psychology: labels, performance, and language. But now the architecture is moving beneath the skin. We are entering the era of biological integration. We used to worry about Big Brother watching us from a screen. Now the screen is moving toward the neural pathways. We are being told that we need to upgrade our wetware to stay relevant in an age of artificial intelligence. We are being sold the dream of telepathy and instant knowledge. But every bridge is a two-way street. If you can use your brain to control a computer, the computer can use its algorithms to influence your brain. The ultimate goal of control is not to stop you from doing what you want. It is to make you want what they need. Imagine a world where your brain-computer interface detects a dip in your serotonin levels and automatically triggers a micro-purchase of a mood-lifting digital experience. You won't even know you were sad. You'll just know you felt an urge to click. This is the total colonization of the human impulse. But this biological takeover is only possible because we have already accepted a deeper lie: the simulation of reality. We are living in a world that is increasingly dead. Have you noticed how everything online is starting to feel the same? The same faces, the same voices, the same viral moments. We are witnessing the dead internet theory becoming a reality. AI models are now training on AI-generated content, creating a feedback loop of sterile, optimized perfection. We are being fed a diet of synthetic reality: AI-generated influencers, AI-written news, and AI-simulated emotions. When the world around you is a simulation, your rebellion is also simulated. Your dissent is just another data point used to refine the next version of the cage. We are becoming ghosts in a machine that we no longer understand. So, where is the exit? If the architecture is everywhere, in our malls, our pockets, our language, and our biology, is there any room left for the individual? The answer is as simple as it is terrifying. The only way to regain control is to become unprofitable. The system relies on your predictability. It thrives on your reactions, your patterns, and your data. To break the architecture, you must introduce noise into the signal. You must reclaim your attention as if it were your last drop of water in a desert. This doesn't mean moving to the woods and throwing your phone in a river, though that's a tempting start. It means practicing the radical act of being bored. It means sitting in a room for 30 minutes with no screen, no music, and no performance. It means reclaiming the nuance of language, reading books that were written before the algorithm was born. It means looking at a sunset and deliberately choosing not to take a photo. You must protect your internal privacy. You must have thoughts that you never share, feelings that you never label, and moments that are never content. The architecture of control is built on transparency. It needs to see you to manage you. By keeping parts of yourself in the dark, you remain a mystery to the machine. We are at a crossroads in human history. We can either merge with the architecture and become highly efficient, perfectly managed biological components of a global hive mind, or we can choose the messy, inefficient, and beautiful struggle of being human. Control is a ghost. It only has power as long as you believe in the menu it provides. The moment you realize that the menu is a lie, the entire restaurant disappears. The strings are only there if you continue to dance, so stop dancing. Look away from the screen. Feel the weight of the air in your lungs. You are not a data point. You are not a user. You are not a consumer. You are the observer. And the moment you truly observe the architecture, it loses its power over you. Choose the silence. Reclaim the void. Because in the end, the only thing they can't control is a mind that has found itself in the stillness.